Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. Have you talked to me like the first time? I feel joy, I feel pain, I feel the same. When the night is long, I'll be alone.
DJ Sequence.
In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. As you talk to me like the first time, I feel joy, I feel pain, I feel the same. When the night is long, I'll be alone. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. Another night, another dream, but always new. It's like a vision of love that seems to be true. Another night, another dream, but always new. In the night, I dream of love so true. In the night, in my dreams, I'm in love with you. Have you talked to me like the first time? I feel joy, I feel pain, I feel the same. When the night is long, I'll be alone.
Look around and see the beauty of the sky. Here for you and me, a wonderful.
Right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How's everyone doing? We are live in the bull market. Apologies, I'm going to have to periodically mute the stream because I keep coughing. And I am full of the lurgy, which is less than ideal, but I'm a lot better than I was, which is good. Which is really good. Particularly for today, for, you know, what is it? Bitcoin basically putting in a 10k candle, which is absolutely nuts in 24 hours. Like, well, 8.5k, but whatever. That's pretty wild. We want some trades, to be honest. You don't want my trades, mate. I basically longed Fartcoin on my actual trading account today, which is this, and I shorted it on the synthetics one and blew it up. I blew it up in the trading competition day one. Fucking epic, mate. I've literally never been liquidated, and then I went and blew myself up by going net short with 0 stops. But we'll come on to that. It's been a wild day. You know, like printing on this. I actually closed it up here. I'm blowing up my synthetics account on day one. But anyway, let's first start off with Breakout for sponsoring the stream. Obviously working in partnership with Breakout. If you want to trade with someone else's money, do an evaluation, use the code in the bottom left for a discount. Easy peasy. Bitcoin 150x long? Yeah, I mean, I probably wouldn't do that right now, but, you know, what the fuck do I know? I'm clearly the most dog shit trading competition person on the planet. Because I was there, I fucking made like 5 trades, and I ran my account from 50 to 55k, and then I checked the leaderboard, and all these cunts were on like 20, 30k up. I was like, how the fuck? Like, I have to go like proper redacted doing this, don't I? And I did, but there we go. Yeah, I mean, the thing with like this is like you can take your time with this, right? Like, there's no time limit on these. You can just do it, and it doesn't matter if there's like a great day like today, or there's, you know, dog shit days like we had like last week. Not really much PA to trade. Yeah, you don't have to rush it. Whereas obviously with the trading competition, you've basically got 2 weeks to get as much as you can out of it. But anyway. What's the opinion in the chat then, boys and girls? Are we all so back, so bullish? It's going back to infinity, or what's the feels? What's the feels? Obviously, I'll go into my opinion, but I'm intrigued to see if people's biases have flipped massively off the back of this, you know, pretty insane day, to be fair. 0, trade the levels, fair. Tomorrow it's over again. Yeah, probably. Yeah, I mean, I've been literally pressing the long button for the last however many weeks. Like, if I look at my fucking Bybit stats, they are, you know, redacted in terms of it's like 99% longs. So why I know I went short thingy. It was because I thought, well, I have to do something that no one else is doing. Charlie, they cancelled 2026 plans for tax and crypto in my country. Don't know if you remember me from a few streams back. Amazing, mate. Bitcoin liquidity grab, 105k, 107k, and then back down. So somewhere like up here. Yeah, I can kind of see that. I mean, I can see where you'd kind of go for something like this, right? Or maybe up here. Yeah, I get it. Trying to be neutral, let it either get above yearly open or stay below, and then aside from there, potentially waiting for the new year to decide. Yeah, that's fair. Come on, Charlie, be well. Good morning, living off grid. I am well. I'm actually full of cold. And I blew up a leverage account, but it's all like fake money, whatever, so I can give a fuck about that. It's just a bit embarrassing to go out on day one, isn't it? But yeah. I caught the long, which when you look at it like this from a zoomed out daily perspective, it's pretty fucking embarrassing that, you know, we're trading this. But anyway, you know, it was still a 20% move on the day. So that was today's move, which I sold up here. But aside from that, I've been pretty inactive this week. Like, I got lucky last week. You would have seen my P&L curve like do this, and I basically finished at a new all-time high for November, which was nice. And I haven't really traded much yesterday. And today it's just been this and shorting Farcoin here on the synthetics and blowing out the water. Yeah, really nice day for alts. I mean, you know, you cannot mock a day where basically from the morning to the evening you get, you know, 20-30% rotations on some coins. Absolute insane. And the same with Bitcoin, right? Like this kind of move is insane. You know, it is pretty strong. You know, we haven't had a move like this for a long time. And to be blunt, this is exactly like what you want to see for the start of like trend reversals. Now, I'm not going to get any like super hyped and super like, wow, OMG, it's all going to infinity and yada yada yada. But it's hard not to be a little bit excited because you look at this, you know, in terms of like support, resistance, you look at this, you know, 3-day chart, which I posted on Twitter earlier, when it was like down here, and you go, well, this is actually, you know, a decent change in structure, a rejection from this consolidation, and, you know, soon enough, we should start really breaking some of the diagonals, like down here, and really, hopefully, you know, starting to move. That's pretty horrible, actually. I was looking at like this, and you know, just trying to like affirm my bias, but you know, we're still in this like janky downtrending channel. Yeah, that's kind of my concern at the minute. This is a really strong day though, and exactly what you want to see at an inflection point of of the trend, you know, trying to change. So yeah, I'm kind of cautiously hopeful. I'm not going to go and buy, you know, everything while it's up 20% on the day, but I will be playing rotations very actively this week. You know, I'm looking at another go on Fartcoin as an example. So, you know, this was a really nice trade, but I'm not afraid to take profits. I'm not swinging this forever and a day. Like, it literally got to the point where it was, you know, like 2% away from my target. And actually, it has established, you know, a pretty solid range here. Does it mean that I won't trade it again this week? Absolutely fucking not. You know, I'm up for trading rotations. I'm a rotational trader. So if I look at this and I go, okay, well, that was really nice, Charlie, well done. Like, how am I going to get onto like the next Fartcoin trade? Well, you know, first off, it has become a bit weaker, and when we're looking at this like a pretty standard range, right? This is just a little range play now. That's all it kind of becomes, and it's just level to level, yeah? Like, I don't think that this is necessarily just going to go like this and just die. I don't want to take the short on it, because it's been, I did that on my, on my synthetics account and blew it up, so that was here. Yeah, I just don't do it. I would rather play the breakout trade if it happens again and go for a long position, assuming that there's some relative strength left on this baby, right? And, you know, it was really strong today. It's here. In the later rotations, it got a bit weaker, so you're looking at it down here. But like I said, if it comes back into play and it starts being strong on a rotation, confluent with price action doing something like this, then yeah, it's a pretty easy long and long for the next leg, because if you start zooming out and you start looking at it from like a 4-hour perspective, you go, well, if I take this all away, we look at this pivot going across here, we say, well, this has been a pretty consistent level to, you know, bounce from back here. Support, 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 bit of a deviation, bounce and retest, just blast through, resistance, 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 resistance. And now, you know, we've technically broken out of this resistance here, and we are retesting it. So that's kind of not the strongest thing you want to see when you get that breakout and that like retest and then run, because ideally it doesn't really retest the point of breakout. But, you know, given how strong its run has been, if we start getting some changes of momentum on strong relative strength, you know, this is really simple to literally just look for a change in structure to play a rotation to the long side, and then you've got that high time frame invalidation in terms of this pivot, right? So should be pretty high on people's radar, I think, as, you know, one of the better performing assets out there today. Same idea, long fart, nice. I think like for me on my system is, unless it's my degenerate retarded system, which I just go, what was it? There was like a 5-minute div going across here or wherever it was. And I was like, fuck it. Like I said, I was seeing all these people up like 50k unrealized PNL, and I was like, I'm up like 5, and I was like, well, I've probably got to step this up a little bit. I was like, well, I also probably have to do something that other people aren't doing. And, well, no, it must have been here. Must have been here, yeah, because I went and did the school run with no stops. And I came back and just saw that, and I was like, well, that's that over with then. But yeah, like that's, you know, strong downtrending price action just on low time frames. So until that changes, I'm not really interested in joining it again. Like, I'd rather enter higher when I've got some confirmation that price action and momentum are in my favor, than try and just, you know, join a trend, or sorry, just guess that a trend is going to form and that I've timed the pico bottom of it. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, really nice rotation. And if I go back to Bitcoin, because I haven't really talked about Bitcoin, and, you know, I tend to ignore Bitcoin in terms of trading opportunities at the minute. Like, for me, the way this looks now is just pretty amazing, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it just looks like it wants to run. It looks like that was, you know, you've had a couple of chances to buy below like 90k, and, you know, if you did, great. It should be a decent swing up to, I think I agree with your kind of 105 level, up to there. We should get a pretty decent relief bounce. If I really wanted to take a fresh trade, it's really difficult for me because I don't really trade Bitcoin anymore, to be honest. I know if I can, travesty to the name BTC Charlie, but the reason I don't trade Bitcoin is because alts are just so much easier. So much easier. Cleaner rotations, you can pick leaders, and yeah, it's just better, in my opinion. What do you think about Salary Coin? I've got no idea, mate. Never bought it. Never did anything. That could be a short from here, so, or dumb. So, I'm never going to say like people are dumb for having ideas and thinking about things, but I'll come on to Zek in a minute. It's definitely pretty shit and weak compared to other coins. And obviously I was a hyperbole up at 700, and now I'm like a bear at 340, so you can take the piss all you want out of me for that, but I rinsed it in terms of rotation, so yeah. Like for me, I can never really find a good place to just buy Bitcoin other than like I just want some spot, and I think this is a highly discounted place. So being massively oversold on a daily time frame has historically worked out as a reasonable place to buy. Months later, that's because we've been in a strong uptrend. So if your conviction's always like, yeah, well, I'm going to just buy massive dips because it's going to go up until it stops going up over a long time horizon, it's fine. But from a trading perspective, I haven't traded Bitcoin for a long time, to be honest. I've looked at hedges on occasion, but I've done nothing more than buy spot in various points and gone, okay, well, I'll do this. I think the last time I bought spot was after 1010. I bought some on 1010 and I said, all right, well, if this is not, like a local bottom on BTC, then fuck it. I'm going to piss this away. And I did something like this, but obviously it just bled out and died. Yeah, we have got a lot of bullish catalysts though now, in terms of like Powell resigning, in terms of QT ending, all this kind of stuff. There's not exactly huge amounts of relief on S&P and US 100, but if you look at Bitcoin, it's kind of hard to deny that reaction. Alts have juicier RRs, yeah. I also think if you're trading with a smaller portfolio, which I'm assuming some of you are trading with like a couple of figures, and some of you are probably trading with 9 figures, you have different problems. Like if you're trading with massive size, then alts can be pretty shit because you can't just clip in like $1 million and go, oh, why has price gone up 5%? It's because the books are so fucking thin. Whereas you clip $1 million into Bitcoin, it just barely moves. Reloading the shorts on alts. Okay. Let's do a shorting versus longing conversation. Which ironically, I probably should have had myself earlier. But yeah, like I said, I've literally pressed long 90-something% of the time. Oh, sorry, I'm losing my breath. Where is it? I was just gonna get my actual stats. Yeah, there you go. Just my tweaks buy bits hopefully log me out. This was like since the start of November, so 95 or 98% longs and barely any shorts. Like if you consider the context of the market, right? We have had altcoins go down a significant amount. We've had Bitcoin do like a 30-odd% pullback. Yeah, bosh, 35% to the lows. This is a very bullish candle. Doesn't matter how you look at this, right? It's very bullish, very strong. You've also got a higher low on like a daily time frame, and it looks pretty strong. It looks pretty good. You've got risk coming back on in terms of rotations, and yeah, it all looks pretty nice. So unless you've got a really strong short setup on something, and most altcoins look like this, right? They are an exceptional amount from their all-time highs, down 80% or whatever. They did hit huge lows, like down 90%. Yeah, all right. For like Fartcoin, we're up like nearly 2x off the lows, but whatever. I think RR shorting in general is bad. I think most people can't do shorts well, myself included today, obviously. But you know, am I gonna short here as well? Like, this is a terrible place to take a short in terms of, like, we're down on this local rotation 13% from the highs. You know, terrible place. If you've got like momentum divs, so to be honest, like the trade I took earlier, it wasn't particularly terrible. It was pretty impatient in terms of like these divergences across here, and then just going, well, fuck it, I'll just all in and see what happens. You know, that's a reasonable trade at this point. Momentum was slowing. You had the rotation going up. You had the the higher high, and then the lower high in momentum. Yeah, you know, could have easily pulled back a couple of percent, and then you go again. It didn't. Obviously, the market had a really strong day, and we absolutely ripped. Yeah, you know, do you want to short after a 13% drawdown? It's the same way as if you were, you know, inverting this. Would I long this here, knowing that it's up 13%? Unless there's some real easy structural stuff to follow like this, yeah, maybe you can follow it like this, but that's a trend following and continuation play, and I prefer being like part of a consolidation and a breakout as opposed to, you know, joining what is quite an aggressive, you know, uptrend in this view or downtrend in reality. Does that make sense? I just think that, like, you know, and going on to Zek here, I was looking at this morning and thinking, oh, I wonder if we do get a nice little pop. You know, there's a nice set of momentum divs up here, and I tried to trade it on synthetics, and I think I got like $500 out of it or something stupid. But yeah, it really just wasn't particularly wonderful. And now again, you've had the kind of slow sell off of the lows into a pop, into a move back, and you go, well, that's kind of a lot of the vol probably done, right? Do I want to short something like that's down, you know, 54% from the local highs? I mean, it's relatively weak, and it's had a pretty piss poor day compared to everything else, right? Like, Zek's here. And it's really disappointing that Zek is here, because, you know, it was such a fun coin to trade for a few weeks, but that's the market. 1 week, this coin is great. The next week, it is not. So I don't think it's stupid for necessarily wanting to short it. I just think it's really difficult to try and justify a short position here, right? Does that make sense? Bruno Montana 17? Got renamed to Fart Charlie? Yeah, I do. Bull trap soon, 74k incoming. I want to short Zek till 280. Yeah, I think the kind of hero trade on Zek is done, right? And I was chatting to XO about it, like up here, like we shorted here somewhere and got out in this, but the real hero trade was doing it over here, I think, you know, on that third time when it failed, and this trend was broken and everything, and it was just, you know, I was thinking that, well, this is like the first, second, third, fourth, fifth like time of trying to smash through the 700 and something resistance on relative strength. I thought that if this was a low time frame chart, you know, I'd be doing this every single fucking time, like that, you know, expecting the kind of breakout and continuation, but it was not to be. It was not to be. You know, you might be able to trend follow this down a little bit in terms of shorting it, but I just prefer the setups that we were talking about earlier, like this. Like, you know, the rationale for this trade was actually quite easy. You had low time frame. I've got a lot of, like, I feel like I got a lot of notes on it, but anyway, let's just keep it as it is. You got this previous resistance over here, which we blasted through. You had this sell-off, and then this comeback, and then, you know, a respect of that level. You've then got this push up and reclaim of like this range here, so like the lows of this range, nice consolidation and a sell-off. And a lot of people saying, well, Charlie, why don't you just build a position here? And to be honest, I did on synthetics. I bought it here and I sold it like here or something. Like, it wasn't even there, it was like there because I got bored, and it was only letting me do 50k at a time or some shit. And then as it broke out, obviously I switched to Bybit and actually played it with real money. And the reason that I wanted to jump in here is because this is essentially the range reclaim, right? This is the range level that we've marked up. This is, we're showing that we've got the strength to reclaim this, and off we go. Like, I find that when there's range levels and when there's stuff to play around, it's much easier because it gives you a really clear invalidation. And you say, well, my invalidation is pretty much this low because I think this is going to be a strong rotation. I think it's going to be a rotation. I think it's going to run and it's going to go. And it did. And that was it, like whatever time this morning. Just so you know, I'm not fucking LARPing. Can you let us know when you went far long? Well, I tend to in Paragon, mate. I put most of my trades in there. I don't put all of them in there, which is thankful, to be honest. And it's actually, do you know what? I'll kind of chat about being a paid group leader because it's quite a cringe topic that no one really talks about. But one of the things that one of the ways it benefits me, and obviously not just financially, cough cough, is it makes me really think about the quality of the trades that I put in the group, and then it makes you think, why would I be taking a trade that I don't want to put in the group? So it does do a lot of it helps me out a lot in a weird way, and I wonder how many of you would benefit from that same kind of philosophy. And if you are in the group, then think about that. Like, start sharing your trades in there, start encouraging discussion and doing all that, and you'll quickly find that if someone said to me right now, right, Charlie, I'm going to short this, and they came and put this in my little questions bit, I'd be like, that's brave, brother, off you go. But it might work out, might have a tighter stop on it, might just, the whole market might just dump, I don't know. But for me, my system says don't touch it until it starts sort of going the other way to long. And if you're going to short, short some weakness, short a range breakout into a failure, and that, or some kind of divergence across price and momentum, or a lower high after a very parabolic run. They're kind of my only real short setups, right? Not after a 13% drawdown, but it's just a random tidbit, right? So sorry, went off on a bit of a tangent there, but thoughts on Trump? I mean, it doesn't look terrible. Like, this is the thing, there's a lot of altcoins have gone from looking like utter dog shit in completely, strong downtrending channels for a long period of time to reclaiming sort of former ranges and levels. Let's go to a lower time frame. It is technically reclaim this level. Does that mean I want to long it here? No. Does that mean that I might look at this and go, actually, should we play this for a breakout setup, i.e., we've got the continued strength here from the consistent high lows, and if this starts doing this, we might get another leg on this. And when I say, we might get another leg, it's like, classic bullshit. This guy's not going to take a trade, blah blah blah. It's like, no, I want to see a little bit of strength on this. I want to see it starting to move. So I tend not to size in like here, because you've still got a 50-50 chance of it going up or down, right? In my mind, as soon as you start breaking out, you've probably still got a 50-50 chance, to be honest, as to whether it's going to go up or down or sideways or whatever. But you are at the point of decision. So if it pushes out and it comes back in and it doesn't really do a lot, that you're kind of wasting your time on the single rotation. Now, it might wait a minute or two and then go and do it again, and you either jump in or miss it or whatever. And you would have seen that that's one of the downsides of my system, is that I'll take a couple of losses in a row, right? And then I'll run it back up, and then and then I'll take a couple of losses in a row because I'm chasing trades like this, yeah. And sometimes you can execute the same trade 3 times, all of them good trades in your brain and according to your system, and none of them work. Sometimes you do 3 trades and all of them work, and it's just luck of the draw, you know. But you look at something like this and you go, okay, like I would want to see this start to break out essentially, and would jump in like on this basis. And then if it literally deviated very quickly, I would just get out. And I would also want to see, you know, a reason to long at low time frame. I'm not even sure if I have Trump on it still. Probably be closer to the bottom. Oh yeah, it is on a WooX classic. So Trump's there. Yeah, it's not really doing much compared to like BTC. It's pretty much like in line. But if you've got the setup there and you start seeing that relative strength as well, then you kind of know that this should be a good rotation, and it should be like the classic giraffe pattern of run it up, consolidate it, run it up again, and there's your little giraffe. Yeah. Pump fund looks pretty nice. Yeah, a couple of people were showing that to me in the group, and I was like, I hate trading pump fund. I've traded it once or twice, but I normally like swinging it. And we talked about it a few times, and yeah, I completely missed this. You know, I even had this pretty much drawn out in terms of like how it would run, but analysis and execution are 2 different things, right? And yeah, I've not taken pump. That sounds wrong. Yeah, that sounds wrong, doesn't it? I've not taken a trade on pump fun, is what I should say. So yeah, and it's now a state with a lot of these coins. It's like it's really hard to justify an entry right here. You know, I'm looking at this and going, well, this is pretty much like a parabolic little run. Like, do I really want to be trying to like long this? I almost need consolidation to jump in. I can't ape here. And if you get something like this, you break a parabola lower high, if you really have to short something, that's kind of where I would jump in. You know, because you've lost your momentum and you've lost various bits of strength. Charlie, you gonna short Bitcoin at 105k? Probably not, mate. Probably not. But yeah, I mean, I'm still like, let's go through coins that we do want to get positions on, right? Because that's kind of the point of this stream, yeah. So Pengu and stuff like that running, meh. Pengu's a bit shit, and whatever. Monad had, you know, some nice rotations, and is, you know, the 700th layer 1 to come out. And then you've got stuff like Sui and Fartcoin. You've got Whiff. You've got various like memes basically. Now, one thing that I love is that when memes are in rotation, you can get some really fucking good trades on memes. Really, really good. And my favorite one is still has to be Fartcoin, purely because the liquidity is actually pretty good. And the rotations just, it trades pretty cleanly. And from consolidations, it tends to just like run out of them. Yeah, it just blows up out of them. Like the price action seems pretty controlled, for lack of a better word. Stuff like Useless is good if you're trading smaller size, but the liquidity is so bad when you smash like any form of decent size in or out of it, and you try and get out of this with, you know, a decent sized position. It is tough. I think in terms of like other memes like Bonk or Doge or something like that, like I still think a lot of them just look a bit meh. If we do get big rotations though into Fartcoin and stuff like that, like bear in mind we're at 92k Bitcoin now, it's pretty wild, then I would expect these to have like the follow-up plays. So it would probably pay to like mark up trade plans for all of the memes and go, okay, well, when do I want to jump in on a you know, bonk rotation, for example? I mean, we just kind of did it with Trump, didn't we? So we said, okay, well, if we can see Trump really starting to move up and break out of this, then we could jump in here for a rotation, yeah? So I think memes in general even SPX. Like, I don't trade SPX from a perp perspective, but we were talking about this last week, which is, this is in a strong downtrending channel. And as soon as it starts breaking out of that's where you can start thinking about longs. I longed SPX from like back here. That's a short. Well done, Charlie. Back here, and played this rotation quite nicely. This price action, really, really nice. It's exactly the price action that I was talking to you about on Trump. Slightly different move into it, but que sera. It's a consistent series of higher lows, and we've got that compression with these highs here. Bosh, bosh, bosh. All, pretty consistent. And then as soon as we started running out of that, it was a very nice rotational trade. And I think I got out somewhere like here, i.e. held it as it was maintaining structure, didn't quite go to whatever target I had. I might have even had it slightly higher. But as soon as we lost our EMAs, and as soon as we lost structure, that was GG. What about gold? I haven't really looked at gold for a long time. But yeah, I think memes for good rotations, boys. Genuinely. Where are we at? GBP USD. Oh. It's unironically alright for me. So, this is one of my favourite short setups of all time. Oh dear. Apologies. I am tired, it would seem. So this is... I'm gonna have to find somewhere to fucking trade gold now and actually take this, aren't I? Because when I did it with silver, it worked out. When I did it with silver, it marked the pico fucking top of it. So the thing that I love about this kind of setup is your invalidation is so close, right? It's so close. So, your invalidation is pretty much the former highs up here somewhere. And then you're saying that there's going to be a pullback of some description. Now, if I post this on Twitter, I'll probably get a bajillion hateful messages from people calling me retarded. So I might just do it, just to trigger some people, because the last time I did that was when Bitcoin was at 125k, and it was a Bitcoin short. But yeah, like I can't buy this, right? I cannot buy gold when it looks like this. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like, if I really wanted to try and play like a breakout trade on gold, which I'd never do because I've never traded gold, you'd look at this and you'd say pretty similar to like Trump, like this, and you'd go, okay, well, I'll kind of long up here if we get the strength and the breakout. But yeah, I can't jump into this. Cannot jump into this. If you got the gold trade, fucking fair play to you. Well done. Yeah, really, really nice. Shall I trade gold like it's a shitcoin? Yeah, everything's a shitcoin, mate. Everything's a shitcoin. If you can trade it, right? I mean, you're telling me that something that goes up like fucking, since the 2023 lows, like, it's up 167%. I mean, that's like more than Ethereum. I suppose it's probably an unfair comparison, but, and it might not be. I'm not checking my facts on that one. But, yeah, it's a parabolic run on gold. People want gold. This is the exact setup that I was talking about. Yeah, you might take a loss. So what? Might also make a fucking decent R trade with size. The problem I've got with trading like stocks is this is just pure price action, right? And the compliments that I've got with this is I can go, right, Charlie, let's have a look at this rotation. Right, we've got Monad running. We've got Useless still in play. We've got Fartcoin actually trying to stop being a dick and, stop being shit down here and actually start attempting to break out and give some relative strength, yeah? So with those assets, I can see how they relate to all the other shitcoins that are out there. With gold, it's a bit more difficult, yeah? I'm sure you can build something, but yeah, why am I looking at the KuCoin chart, man? Yeah, here you go. Like, this is exactly what we're talking about. This is strong downtrend, being broken now, start of a rotation, Farcoin's coming back into play. It's at our high time frame level. We've literally got a reason to jump in to a rotational trade and do something like this. You know, you don't have to aim for the highs, you can aim for even higher. You know, if we've got that relative strength, which we do here, then great. My brother, we need a new playlist. Yeah, I know. The thing is none of them are like actually copyright free. So I've done it several times, and they say, "Oh, it's copyright free," and then I get 400 emails from fucking what's it called? What's this? Yeah. Loads of emails from YouTube saying, "Oh, your video's been muted. You've done this. You've done that," and it's like, bruh, cheers, bruv. But yeah, this is how I'm trading normally, right? Obviously, I'm not trading whilst I'm here with you guys, but this is why like longing when you start seeing the change in direction, and you know, confluent with the level and confluent with a bit of relative strength, much better. But yeah, so should we post some gold shorting rage bait on the timeline? Let's do it. Bosh. I would appreciate it if you you know, obviously engage with that tweet. Thinking about swapping my deadweight alts into memes. They're absolutely cooked anyway. I mean, you have to kind of take everything with a pinch of salt, right? And say, like, let's just pick on. I'm just gonna try and find a coin that I don't know, that's been like one of the cycles memes. Yeah, let's go with nobody, right? So nobody's a meme coin. We talked about it on stream back here actually, and I think I sold it somewhere like in here or something, and then it obviously ran on to billions of dollars, and it would have been $1 trillion if I held and all that kind of stuff. You know, a lot of these shit coins can probably just make a massive recovery, and I've just picked this one randomly. I don't have a position. I'm not like trying to get one. I'm just trying to pick a chart that I think is a bit more generic and systematic of or representative rather of all of crypto and like all of your probably shit coins that are like pretty much dead and done. And the reason I like this, to go back to it, is it tells you that the market is rushing to buy whatever shit coins these are, yeah? And currently they're pretty much memes. So, you know, it's kind of like meme risk on, useless, Pengu, whiff. It was Farcoin, but yeah, it's not really there at the minute. So if you've got lots of like DeFi investments or Ondo and stuff like that, and they look similar to this, then yeah, I'd probably rotate them myself. But equally, if you have thorough conviction in whatever narrative that they are a part of, then, you know, you should probably keep them in line with your original thesis. You know, we talked about stuff like this before, like ordinals. I genuinely thought like ordinals might come back as part of a Bitcoin meta. I was wrong. And you know, just because they're ranging and consolidating in a period doesn't mean they can't just sell off and basically die as these did during, you know, the 11.11 or 10.10 or whatever it was. So yeah, obviously not financial advice. Make your own decisions on that front. But yeah, I personally don't like having money in bags that I think is dead, and yeah, is not coming back. And a lot of these charts are not coming back. New massive hold, Gore found. So worries of supply increases possibility. Excellent. I hope that they find like a metric ton and my clout tweet generates a bajillion likes. Charlie, would you like to do Avicii? Nope. I would not. I don't own Avicii, brother. So I would not like to do it. I missed it. I had the opportunity to buy it at like 80 cents or something. It's probably at like $80 now. And it's also an on-chain shitcoin that I know for a fact just looks like this. There's not really much to say other than it's going up and to the right, and I would not know where the fuck to buy. So, Yeah, that's Avicii done. Is Tia dead? Does it have a chance of a rebound? I'll be honest with you guys. I think 99.99% of altcoins are fucked forever. They're dead. They're gone. They are never coming back. They're not making all-time highs. They're not, going to get the influx of liquidity like everyone's banging on about. 2017 happened. 2021 happened. That's it. You know, is Tia dead? Yeah, I'd fucking say so. Jesus Christ. Like, I mean, is there a more bleak chart than this? Yeah, okay, it bounced 10% today. What the fuck? It's probably because sellers literally have got no coins left. There's just none. There's none left in the market. Do you know what I mean? They've been fucking selling relentlessly for like 2 years. It's just been like down only with like a tiny relief bounce, tiny relief bounce, tiny relief bounce. And then like here it's just consistent sell pressure. This is just fucked. Absolutely fucked. If your chart isn't making higher lows, and it isn't, showing up on spaghetti, then I would not have my capital allocated to it. Right? It's as simple as that. So if you look at, even something like as simple as this, it's been in a bearish trend for ever. Simple EMA crosses. That was a bit late, but whatever. Hold the downtrend for like a year, breaks it for a rotation. It's been in a downtrend for the rest of this year. Would I be buying tier and hoping that it's going to like 100x from here? I'm sure you'll see some clowns on Twitter posting that. But, I don't think it's coming back. I mean, sorry. Don't get me wrong. If you guys, really have an affinity for tier and you want to hold this because you think it's one of the most bullish assets ever to exist, whatever, then by all means, do exactly that. Stick with your convictions. But I see no reason to be longing things that aren't on here, aren't showing strength, don't have a narrative that could easily come back into play. So you look at this versus pump, for example, which we talked about earlier. It's at a pretty key level. It's had a decent cycle already. It's come back to, former lows. It's not making new lows like down here. It's come back to these lows, and we've actually seen before where good projects with good revenue generation and all of that, if risk does come back and it does come back on chain, and we do get a little bit of general relief, and it's not just lots of rugging bastards on Solana, then this chart looks pretty clean in terms of like a break of this downtrend, as opposed to TIA, which is it's just this and that. Like, that's your 10%. So, I'm very conscious and careful as to what assets that I want on my radar. And, even if this is just a little bit of a relief pump today, in general for Bitcoin, etc., then, it was a nice little pump. Maybe the trade isn't, this, but I would much rather have my assets allocated my cash allocated to something like pump than I would tier. Yeah, because you've just got different structures, you've got different levels to play with, you've got a narrative that's still relatively in play. And again, I don't have a pump position, I'm not, paid by pump or anything like that, so it's just, complete objective discussion. But yeah, if you had to allocate Sol or ETH, which one would you pick? It's really easy. I'd look at the Sol ETH chart and decide, and go, I don't really like either. Like, none of them are particularly, like, there's no major relative strength or weakness at this point in time, right? It looks like Solana is kind of creeping a little bit in terms of we've got the series of higher lows. So I'd probably make the decision based off what the charts look like. And And this is what we were talking about last week in terms of, if we break out, we could just carry on, but obviously we haven't. We've actually established, a low here. So that looks okay. Let's compare it to Ethereum then and see what ETH has done. And this is where I said, like, I see this price action the same as, I don't even know what time frame it was, probably 4 hour. Yeah, these bits of price action pretty much the same. As soon as we break out of this downtrend, it should be like a free run up, yeah? And hopefully we do that soon, and this is, the start of it. But, yeah, they don't look too different, to be honest. If anything, ETH's probably got a better across here at like 2.7. But let's have a look at Sol. So Sol, to be fair, Sol's got a nice level going across here. This is a pretty a strong local low that it's bounced from. At the minute, I don't know. I'm pretty indifferent. I think I'd probably go Solana purely because this structure is this looks like it's attempting to reverse the downtrend, and I just like Sol more in general, but yeah, it is technically in a downtrend. Charlie XBL memes crack you up. Yeah, his XBL move today. Piece of shit. One of the heaviest fucking charts on the planet. Might tweet this as well. Guess what still hasn't fucking pumped? Can someone... Hello. There we go. Sorry, I obviously chimped the fucking cable out my mic. Oh well. Is cash off on this pump a decent play? What, as in sell now? Sell everything now? Or do you mean you're in cash right now and you've missed this pump and therefore you've missed generational wealth? Pump's an obvious buy. I mean, yeah, we kind of covered pump. What about MOG? Oh, I haven't actually looked at MOG, but I have seen a lot of relative strength on MOG. So there's like a MOG ETF or something, isn't there, coming up? Which I think is pretty fucking wild because that's exactly what we need. Okay. I mean, it looks pretty shit. I'm not gonna lie. Again, you go, what's the kind of meme diagonals and structure? What's the trend of this asset? I mean, it's clearly down. Have we reclaimed like any form of ranges or done anything interesting? Not particularly. Like we have, attempted to reclaim this a few times, failed. It's pretty illiquid, I imagine. Yeah, it still kind of looks like shit. Why trade this when you can trade something that is actually moving up and to the right? MicroStrategy minus 60%. Yeah, I mean, it is pretty wild, right? And again, they kind of fall in line with Bitcoin's price action, obviously. And XO actually called the top up here, I think it was. Pretty sure he said, like, did his classic up here of piss everyone off and say it looks like it's massively overvalued, and then obviously like a few weeks later it's down 66%. Oh, excuse me, my throat just won't clear. Like, again, it just looks like the Bitcoin chart, really. It's bounced from the previous consolidation. It's a good reaction so far. Again, like, we've just kind of broken this downtrend, but whether this is like a dead cat bounce or whatever, it's a bit too early to see. I kind of hope it isn't, because that would be very bullish for Bitcoin in general. But it's hard to ignore a 66% sort of drawdown for the highs. That is quite miraculous. XPR reminds me of Dimension when it first launched. So much hype around it when tier was hot. And down only. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these, they launch like $1 billion FTV. And, if you invested $10,000 in their private sale, then you are probably up, $1 million at least. And then you've got people basically just going, yep, well, I'll sell this because, I turned $10,000 into $1 million in a couple of months. Happy days. Let's cash in. Let's go for it. And who can blame them? But, they often make for very nice short-term rotational trades, like even XPL was, right? Credit where it's due. When it did launch, it did run. So, we did have this, bosh. And then it just fucking died, obviously. And there's really nothing that's happened after. In answer to your question about hype, yep, but exactly the same comment. All charts to me, or not all of them, but 90% of them are printing the same high time frame pattern on the daily basis, which is on the daily time frame rather, which is this. It's a strong downtrend. Until that changes, I've got no real interest in trying to time the bottom and get majorly allocated to spot bags. I still think that structurally the market is pretty much reading from this, and we're still at a point where we've got lots of lower highs. Even here, lower high, lower high, lower high. This is a strong downtrending asset with a nice day, but a nice day doesn't offset, a pretty shit 3 months, 4 months. So, yeah. I am quietly hopeful on Bitcoin, but equally, I'm like, I don't want to be turbo bull because of this, whilst we're still in this downtrend. And I think that's the safest way to play it. Acknowledge that we've had an amazing day in terms of rotations, cream 20% out of it, go, well, that's a fucking great day. Most hedge fund managers want 5%, obviously on bigger values, in a year. I've just done 20% in a day, so fuck it. And blown up another account as well, but we won't talk about that one. We'll do the classic pay group leader thing of just focusing on the wins. So yeah, hopefully that kind of answers your question about hype. But hype is one of the bags that if we do get an extended bear market, I'm going to load up on massively, right? Like it's just one of those bags, and it was like me and XO kept talking about Sol last cycle. And that we wanted to load up massively on Sol for this one. And to be honest, I don't think either of us pulled the trigger at $7 or whatever it was, and it was like, not here, obviously, but on the Sol chart, it was way back here. I think we bought much later, but yeah, this will be one of those where you can see it on like EMAs, right? You can see the momentum is just pointing down. You could add some VWAPs and stuff on there, and you would see that yeah, it's all just under VWAP, not particularly great. Like, yeah. It's struggling under. Yeah, I'm not in a rush to jump in, but it's a very good coin, very good team, etc., etc. Should I enter a trade as soon as the ticker is outperforming on the spaghetti chart, or should I wait for some other confirmations? So you do whatever you want, but the way I trade is kind of how we talked about on Farcoin, right? We are looking at price action. We are going, what is price action doing? What are the levels that I would be interested in trading around? Why would I be interested in longing here? Like longing here specifically, let's just go this trade here. Like longing here actually gives me two things, right? One, it gives me a break of this downtrend. And it also gives me the sense that this consolidation here, where we had an auction previously, over value, and we said, okay, well, we consolidated, the market couldn't decide, it held it in a tight little range. We've come into that range. We tested that range here, and that was a pretty bullish reaction. We've come into that range here, and actually now we're starting to genuinely send from it and go, right, well, we're really pushing out now. This is a change of diagonal structure. This is a change of momentum potentially on relative strength with a little bit of a kick to it. So Fartcoin back here was positive. So it's one of the stronger performing assets. So everything else is underperforming BTC. And do you just have this to say, okay, well, I'm going to long Fartcoin, which is here? No, you have all of it together. Because then you've said, well, I've got a range. We're bouncing from the range. I've got a diagonal, which means that it's a very simple way, an arbitrary way of looking at price in a downtrend, hopefully moving to an uptrend. And in quick markets, you kind of expect that that it does this and maybe a V reversal, as opposed to falls off, capitulates, reclaims, consolidates, and then goes. So the condition and the environment is something that's quite difficult to manage, but you always have to try and anticipate. And that's one of the real difficulties with my style, because I don't just go, okay, well, if it prints a pin bar, then buy that. If it prints this pin bar here, buy it. My strategy isn't that. So it does involve thought. And then as you get this rotation out, and then you get this kind of coming back in, you are pretty much going, well, I'm kind of wrong down here. And if we actually come in back into this consolidation and close, or like push into it, and we've lost our relative strength on Fartcoin, which it looks like we have, then I'm just not that interested, right? And I can always get back in, and I just have to get in and out for fees, basically. Yeah. So if we can't like hold up here now, this is where I'd be like very, very tempted to close, because it's just a weak asset compared to everything else. Does that make sense? So you're not just going like, I'm not just going to go, right, I'm going to buy BERT now. Bang, I've seen some relative strength. Like, bang, let's go BERT. It'll be tough to determine which alts are going to last till next cycle, but Hype definitely probably one of them. Yeah, I mean, I would think that all the big revenue generation alts, like Pump, Hype, are probably ones that would have a much better chance, because they tend to be the ones that thrive during bear markets in terms of people actually accumulate them and buy them, and they will, they are attractive investments because they're cash generative, right? But I think 99.9% of all the shit will be gone. I genuinely think we are going to see a massive resurgence of Bitcoin dominance. I think people are tired of getting destroyed by altcoins and being exit liquidity for VCs, essentially. But that might just be me being skeptical. And I hope that's not the case, because alts are really fun to trade. What do you think about Daddy Coin? That's fucking what's his dumbass baldy, isn't it? I mean, I think it looks like fucking trash. It looks like a massive exit scam. Yeah, Daddy Tate. Absolute douchebag. Yeah, look at it. Looks like he rugged everyone. Rugged and mugged. But what if the momentum ends till we wait for the consolidation and enter later? Like, what if the strength is lost till then? So if you're having a breakout like with no relative strength, you can just play that, yeah? But I will not size as much on that, and I will not have as much confidence in seeing that through to a longer rotational trade. If the entire market is ripping and you happen to be long this, and you go, well, my coin's actually this coin here, it's not the strongest, but I can't really position in these, then yeah, you might as well push it, right? But if the entire market's doing, very slowly up and to the right, and yours is like doing pish, not negative, but it's like really, really bad, and it's just kind of doing this and like dribbling out, then I'd probably just get out of that anyway, because for me, a lot of breakout trades are kind of time bound. People talk about, is it a time bound trade? So really, is the trade this? Does it have to kind of do it quite quickly? And for me, the answer is usually yes. I don't want it stalling. I want it showing some relative strength. If that's what your question is, I'm not sure I fully understand. But yeah, let's go back to the full list. You're back at 3K on ETH, which is good. We are pushing a bit on Fartcoin, which is decent. Let's see if we've actually got, a little lot of rotation kind of come in now. Yeah, this is what I mean. Pretty dull. But equally, we've been up huge today. 24% rotations. Can't be kind of sniffed at. And I think there's been some other kind of old school coins like, what's the one that I wanted to point out? It was BCH. BCH running, which we talked about last time. It's not, again, it's not like super exciting, I don't think. We never got a breakout long up there, but we have reclaimed this 539 level across here, so that could be quite interesting for a rotation, especially if Bitcoin does kind of come back in the limelight. Monad's probably the other one that we haven't talked about that has been really strong. So let's jump into Monad. And now, again, we're looking at something that is down quite a lot, and from a rotations perspective is good to trade, but probably quite illiquid on perps, yeah. So we're seeing this, we're seeing these downtrends, we're seeing a strong breakout of like the consolidation. You would have had relative strength there. I'm not sure I can really. It's a bit janky. Like consistent higher lows though, which is nice. Like if this was a bit more like Trump, yeah, in terms of like this, it was a bit more like that, and was something like that, I'd go for it and I'd play the rotation. But this is quite quite janky price action. But if we want to look for coins to short, should we want to look for the outperformers as they have the more volatility, or should we look for the underperformers? That's a great question. I do most of my shorting, and you are talking to someone who liquidated an account shorting today, just to put that in perspective, right? So you might want to... But yeah, I mean, I don't fucking size like that. I'm not a moron. I've never actually been liquidated on my accounts, which are technically I was liquidated once on Delta Exchange with like a $10 position as I was pissing about with options. But yeah, like I've never had an account liquidated because I am not a degenerate. I do not. I have the problem of not risking enough. That's my fucking problem. But anyway. It's really difficult because you kind of don't want to short the super strong thing because it'll do what Fartcoin did to me earlier and just go like, bup, and fuck you. But equally, when you're talking about, like, I want to short, you kind of have to assess why do you want to short, because my entire trading strategy is long the fuck out of everything, right? And assume that you're going to get good rotations. That is pretty much my strategy. And it works really well. I've done, what was it, like 190% on my account, or it was 190%, I don't know what it is now, in this downtrend, right, since the start of November, like here. So the market has gone, whatever, minus fucking 20% or something. Basically everything down only, apart from a few decent rotations, minus 27%, cool. I've 3x my trading account, so yeah, it works when you pick the right assets. I'd kind of pull into question, like, are you such a competent trader that you really need that extra string of trying to short things? There's a couple of people who do it really well, like XO, consistently, right? He consistently shorts the market with great timing. He nailed Zek, absolutely destroyed Zek. He was on the other side of this trade. I gave him my money on this. I'm not sure if he held all the way down here, but he did really, really well. But he's traded these markets for 8 years, 10 years, something stupid like that. That's who you're competing against. I can tell you from both experience and from conversations with everybody else, if you go 100% long in any market, you will probably find it easier. But again, not financial advice. You work out your own trading style. I'm showing you and showcasing mine. But yeah, normally I don't use spaghetti to short, right? I do use it to identify what I don't want to short, so which is typically the strongest asset. The only reason I did it today was because I wanted to do something different in that trading competition. So I thought, well, the only way that I can really win this, given that everyone has like milked a massive day and they're all going like this, and I'm like, yeah, I've made $5,000, is take a controversial position. So I kind of got psyoped and what's the word, like game theoried myself into pressing the short button. But, you know, normally, like if that was my own money, I would not have fucking touched that, right? I would not have touched that. I'm just always long. But yeah. Short gold. Maybe that's the cycle we will get with altcoins. 80% will die, exchanges are forced to delist them when we start the dilution cycle again. Yeah, that would be interesting. I do think that I'm gonna put the music back on because I need it to sort my like OCD out. But yeah, I think that's pretty much like it. I'm not sure there's loads more to cover. I think, you know, today's been a really nice run. Useless is getting fucking Ponzi'd up. Love to see it. You know, I think a lot of the pump has kind of happened today, and I could be completely wrong on that, but I'm not looking to enter any like new positions before I go to bed. I think this kind of rotation is, you know, if it's going to happen, it's probably now. If not, we just get the consolidation. We probably consolidate here again, and then we look for the same trade like later on. Yeah, we look for something like over here, similar concept. Maybe this turns into a range. Yeah, and we look for a breakout of said range, and we look for something like this. You know, again, don't be afraid to like change things up and just move things about and look for good rotations on some of the better performing assets. I'm not super bullish on ETH or Sol or anything like that. I think the time to buy Bitcoin was probably, you know, way back here when we had, I think we talked about it last week actually, is that if you buy like the daily oversold, has been, you know, historically quite a good place to buy for, you know, a couple of months kind of time horizon, and it's usually bought up pretty quickly, even in like bearish conditions, right? Even in bearish conditions, you get daily oversold like down here, and you know, we get a bit of a relief bounce and so on and so forth. Like it's, you know, it's not a foolproof system, but it does give you context for like, are we closer to the lows or the highs? Thoughts on Asta? I mean, I tried long Asta up here somewhere. We caught the breakout. It was really nice. We tried compounding it up here somewhere, or maybe it was here. It just failed. And it's, again, right? Let's delete the chart. And let's go. You know, we are still in a structural downtrend. Have we reclaimed significant levels? Kind of. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say like this $1 region is fairly significant. Have we done it on relative strength? Yeah, it's here. Not really then. You know, it's pretty piss poor in terms of it's the yellow one here. So is it that exciting? No, I don't think so. Yeah, I'm not. I think the whole let's run everything through a DEX meta, it's kind of past. I think, like I said, most altcoins are fucked. It hasn't bounced too well. Yeah, I really struggled to get enthusiastic about it. You know, the old me would probably been looking at something like this and going, well, CZ's going to pump it and yada yada yada. But realistically, yeah, it's not had the strongest bounce. So, yeah. Can't be super bullish, I'm afraid. If it hasn't got good relative strength, if it hasn't got standout price action or a standout reason to be bullish on it, then yeah. But it was on my list. You know, you can see here, it's on the sort of stuff that I look at. Don't know why Moodang's on there, to be honest, but there we go. Just logged on, do you think Pengu holds the low? And if not, where do you think the next support is? I haven't really looked at the Pengu chart. It's probably fucked, isn't it? Yeah, do I think it holds the low? I mean, that's the $1 million question, isn't it? Right? I think with most of these charts, and the only one that I will exempt from this is Bitcoin. I think a lot of people have been quite naive, and we're all thinking that, you know, it's just going to go like this, and they're just going to do that, and like we're going to just run it back. And maybe we do, you know, a bit of a relief bounce or something, but this has been down only for so long now, you know. And yes, memes have had a good rotation today, but yeah, I don't know. Does it hold the low? No fucking clue. The price action is, you know, not the cleanest chart, and by that I mean like it's quite difficult to draw like levels where you've got like a ton of confluence. I mean, you know, locally you'd say this downtrend is broken, yeah, and this is a strong move, but the real question is it a dead cat bounce, which is just like literally pure capitulation. Finally someone's actually bought something, and this is real they can muster, right? It's a good move, don't get me wrong. It's a nice like 30% off the lows, but is it the start of a fresh trend? Don't know. I can't see it myself, but I think for a coin that's been so out of play for so long, to come back into play is just, you know, I don't really understand why most of these will come back. You know, you compare these structures to something like Fartcoin, where actually, you know, it's up like 2x from the lows, and it has printed a series of higher highs and higher lows going up. So yeah, it's much more interesting in my opinion. But I do see you have a pudgy PFP, so you're probably just going to buy and hold it anyway, aren't you? You want the short Pippin? Fuck is Pippin, bruv? Where's Mary? If you want to short it, this is going to be up a lot, isn't it? And then you're going to be like, right, I'm going to be the hero and short this. Right, Tevia, mate, I'm going to do you a favour. You tell me how much risk you want to take on the short of this. I'll give you a wallet and you can send it to me, right? Let's just skip the part where you spend the whole night sweating over this only to get wrecked. This looks like a wonderfully manipulated Ponzi scheme. And there is obviously glory in taking the short. But even this chart, right? There is something on this chart that is screaming to me, you short me and I will fuck you up, right? It's the fact that any div, right, is just met with more up. There's no like major pullbacks apart from this one, and if they happen, they basically happen within a candle, and then it just gets ripped again. Yeah, like I told people the same thing on like MYX and stuff like that, which was just manipulated garbage Ponzi shit. I bet if you stuck this on a bubble maps, right, you will see that the team bought the entire supply here. This is Saros. This is Saros all over again, right? I will show you what will happen with this. Here you go. This is probably where you're at right now. Where am I going to short this? And then they're going to do this to you. And absolutely fist you. Because they bought everything over here and bundled the shit out of it. So, you know, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm genuinely trying to be nice. And I'm trying to hopefully save you money. And then now it probably goes down 90% in a single candle. And you're like, oh, fucking Charlie Top, not short. It's not true. I'm not telling you not short. I'm just telling you I wouldn't fucking short it. If you said you got to short this or you and your family die, I'll just say, all right, we'll see you. See you in the next life, boys. Is this the honest answer? There's just like, how do you short this? I don't fucking know. How do you short something that's just like relentlessly going up? Bearing in mind this is over the last like couple of weeks where price action hasn't been particularly bullish, right? It's just this is going to be stairway up and elevator down. This is going to do this or this and like rip up to like 50 cents. Yeah, somewhere up here, and then it'll just do that. Like, I don't guarantee it because there's never a guarantee, on any of this. But if I had to bet, it would be something like that. Yeah, what would really make me like take the short? I mean, it would be either big candle like that then starts getting absolutely sold off into. You haven't really got any levels to play with. It's sat at pretty much like all-time highs. The only thing that you could do really is use this as a pivot, and that's what we were talking about on Fartcoin, and one of the reasons why I sold my intraday rotation to the long side here. If you get something like this and you get that can be a nice invalidation, but realistically it's going to be really tough for you, mate. That's my opinion, and you asked me for it, right? So Crime, yeah, exactly. I wouldn't want to be the first one shorting who'll get destroyed. Yeah, and again, it goes back to the question of why you're looking for shorts. Like, the only reason I wanted to short in that competition was because I thought I needed to do it to stand out and to have a chance of beating the others. And I was so wrong on that, and I've learned my lesson if I ever get invited back to a trading competition ever again. How's spaghetti work in the bear market in terms of longs? It's better to chill. Then if you find some nice rotations. So what usually happens in the bear market is the market collectively agrees that there's one coin that they want to trade. And I'll give you examples. Like, there were periods in the 2022-23 bear market where we all just long Matic, like everyone and their dog long Matic. And actually the Matic chart looked like this. It literally looked like this. And it was going up and up and up and up and up. And then it literally went like that. Probably find it on an exchange somewhere. But it was literally that. There was literally no liquidity on the buy side on FTX. There was zero, absolutely zero buys, and it just went. It's hilarious. But anyway, there will be a coin. There will be a couple of coins. Even if you think about last week or the week before or 2 weeks ago or whenever it was, there was ZEC, right? There was ZEC this whole time. Like, ZEC was just running by itself. I don't know how, why. People like cornered the entire supply or something, but whatever. Don't know. Don't care. I made some decent money long in it. There will be something. We'll get a roll bit again. Oh my god, the best thing ever. A casino on chain. Great. But it will not be, I'll just long one of these alts. It'll be, there's only one that I want to long, and Spaghetti will start telling me when I should jump in that. It won't be like risk on rotations like this. Everything will move like 2 or 3%. And you'll be fucking happy with the 1%, gain in a day. Not 20%. 20% in a bear market, like in a day, is fucking, Christmas, Hanukkah, and your birthday all at once. Do you know if Sailor can get liquidated? I hear conflicting responses. I do not know if Sailor can get liquidated. I do not pretend to understand all that crap. I mean, if he gets liquidated, we all get liquidated, right? We'll know about it. It'll be in the chart. Yeah, I don't think... So, I don't think, and I'm no expert, I do not think he can get liquidated per se. So I don't think he can be at a point where he's like, oh, soz boys, 4% of the Bitcoin supply, or whatever he owns now, is now being sold at market right now. Good luck, have fun. I do think he can go into a perpetual cycle of having to sell. Because of the price of Bitcoin, his share value, and his NAV, and all of that kind of crap. So I do think he can be in a position where he is a forced seller and has to slowly exit. I do think that's possible, but that's based on fuck all, just to be clear. Are we in a bear market? How will we know if it ends? Good question. I really like Hasaka's view on this, which is there is no bull market, there is no bear market, there is just the market. And for me, like, I'm in a bull market. You know, like I said, 3x to fucking trading account in a month. Happy with that? That's really fucking good. For me, a bear market comes when, excuse me, when volatility dies. So when volatility dies and there's nothing to trade and there's no, you know, major outliers or anything like that, that's a bear market. I don't think we're there yet. We've had massive pullbacks, loads of alts have sold off, loads of alts fucking died. You know, the whole industry looks like shit, to be blunt with you. Yeah, it's really, really tough, you know, to be super bullish on all these altcoins and thinking they're all going to run back turbo, yeah? But human greed is infinite. And I am sure that we will come back to, you know, greedy times. And this is more cautious, right? Cautious times. Can we come back to greed? Absolutely. Will we be more unified in terms of what coins we should be going for? I absolutely think so. I think, you know, finding stuff like Pippin, for example, like if we found that, you know, way back here, and it's been outperforming for ages, like, that's what we need to be working on, right? We need to be finding the really strong coins, or the crime coins. And I think as long as there's opportunities like this in the market, it's still a bull market. So it's kind of a long and probably shitty answer in terms of there's bull markets. I would say the majority of crypto is in a bear market, is probably how I would put it. But there are bull markets in crypto. You just have to find them. And there's almost always bull markets in crypto. Yeah, wow, look at this absolute manipulated Ponzi. Genius. My opinions for memes where even higher risk assets is the same. Will there be human greed? Yes, always, exactly. And it's just, you know, when do you want to be aggressive versus defensive in this market? Like now I think is a time to look, like to lean in and to go, oh, we've just had a really, really good day. Is that a good day, or is that breaking of these structural downtrends? And it's the first sign that actually risk might be coming back into the market. That's where I'm at mentally. We've been in a bearish couple of months in the market in general. We've had small secular bull runs like ZEC. Is this the change? You know, not the menopause, but the change in the trend. And I don't know. I'm not willing to speculate here. I'm never willing to speculate here. I am willing to speculate when we start breaking out of that downtrend and we start going for it. Yeah, we start printing higher lows. We break that downtrend. We are showing consistent relative strength. Yeah, I'm more than willing to do that on more than a rotational basis. But at the minute, I'm just doing my rotations. But yeah, on that bombshell, I think we've covered a hell of a lot. Do you ever think human nature will change? No, we are programmed to survive. And, you know, our survival is number one. And to survive in this modern world, you need money. So greed, it comes into play. And speaking of money, if you want to trade with someone else's breakout prop, you know the shill. Code zone on the left. Thank you very much for being here. I am not sure what my streaming schedule is going to look like over the next few weeks because we're heading into Christmas. But I will put some stream schedules up on YouTube and in my bio and stuff. So thank you all for being here. Thank you all for asking such wonderful questions, as always. Hope you've learned something. I hope that if you do short Pippin, you flex it in my face, DM me and tell me I was an absolute idiot. Or if you short it and get absolutely destroyed, you just quietly say, oh, thanks, Charlie, I never actually did that. I never shorted it. So, you know, either way you win. There you go. Paid Group Leader 101. And yeah, I'll still be here. But yeah, enjoy the holidays yourselves, boys and girls. And love you and leave you. See you in the week. Au revoir.